Hello, my name is Paul Simon, and I'm a business journalist and business communications consultant based in the east of England. It's an enormous pleasure to be able to chat now with Matt Moss. Matt is the managing director of Smart Garden Offices, Studios and Rooms, a Suffolk-based company, but one with a national reach. Matt, the pandemic has caused real issues for businesses up and down the land. What's it been like for Smart?
Yeah, Paul, thank you very much for interviewing me today, and it's a great pleasure. The pandemic has been, for us in particular, one of two halves. At the very outset, it would cause chaos, like most businesses, widespread panic, and with the introduction of the furlough scheme, business closures and restrictions over operations, we had no choice. We were, like many businesses, forced into closure. Not only for the safety of our staff, but actually because our whole operation just had to come to an end. Sending people around the country to install garden rooms when you've got the hotels and limiting movements was quite challenging. So we ended up in a situation where we closed the factory down, we put every member of staff on furlough, and we just held on tight to see what would happen. And it was really interesting because after about 4 weeks, something like that, the whole working from home forced situation that people found themselves in really started to change the way that people thought about how they would work from home. And all of a sudden, we started to see the impact of that as people started to think, well, actually, this is perhaps a bit more long term. This is perhaps something that I want to do. Outside, beyond COVID, and then the inquiries started to come in, and before we knew it, we were having sort of more inquiries than we'd had prior to lockdown. So it was definitely a situation of two halves in that sense.
And in terms of the year ahead, you must be fairly optimistic then, given that the working from home conundrum has been solved, at least in theory, by many companies and by many business people who've proven it works.
I think we're very optimistic. The forced situation has allowed people to explore opportunities that they'd never had to. Employers had to trust employees. Employees had to prove that they were able to still maintain their productivity and deliver on what needed to be delivered on. So, the whole culture of the way in which people work shifted massively. But of course, at the same time, people could understand that actually working from home had significant benefits. The reduction in their commuting time, the reduction in their stress levels, which meant they were able to be more effective in the hours that they were working, which meant that they could spend more time doing the things that they wanted to do rather than stuck in a traffic jam or stood on a train station. And there's very little appetite for many people I speak to return to that, particularly with the risk of infection, people being in confined spaces like trains and tubes. The appetite's just not there for that. So we're very optimistic. I mean, we're booking now into sort of December, January of next year for our installations because people are really seeing this as a longer term opportunity. And all of the businesses that have allowed their staff or been forced to have their staff work from home, they've put the infrastructure in place, the IT infrastructure. They've proven that it can work, and so there's no reason why, unless there's any change in productivity, why that wouldn't continue.
Now, it's very clear from that you're the right person at the right time. But I think anybody who knows Smart, that it's got a long heritage, a tradition of product quality and innovation. So I'm sure you're not just waiting for the tide to rise. Can you give me a sense of new product developments you've got over the next couple of years and how those might widen the appeal of the company and actually might bring in a much greater number and type of customers in the future?
Yeah, sure. So product development is always key, and from the very moment I walked through the door, that's always been high up on my agenda. And we've introduced a number of different things to enhance our products. But what people like, they like to see new designs, new products, and new developments. So we launched the Affinity back at the beginning of this year. Timing wise, it launched fantastically, and then COVID hit, and it sort of dropped off. But it was a new product, and it's still very popular today. We've got another product coming on board later this year, a new exciting product that we're trying out some new different techniques, new different ideas. So that's very exciting. I don't want to give too much away on that, but it's going to be that's going to be a great product addition to us. And at the end of this year, we're launching our new augmented reality app. It's a real front runner in terms of engagement for our customer. And as far as the customer experience is concerned, it's going to be completely different. And that's all about giving the customer that front end experience, so they can design their garden room, they can tweak it, change it, whatever they like. And then the really great bit is that then they can take that product and they can place it in their desired location in their back garden. And then they can, with the app on their phone or their iPad, they can then walk through, walk round, they can go in, look out, and it will just change the customer experience massively. And the idea is obviously for them to fall in love with the product before they've even got it. So we're super excited for that. It's a project that's been in the wings for a long time, and with COVID and the way in which that forced us to change how we interact with our customers, really accelerated that project, because we had to change the way we interacted with our customers. We could no longer do the traditional visits at home, and many people are still quite nervous about that. So that this whole situation made us accelerate that project, and that's great, because that's an enhancement that we probably weren't expecting to see until maybe even next year in terms of commencement. So that's great. And we're also looking at some front end more commercial projects as well, so working with organizations that are real front runners as far as flexible agile working is concerned, and trying to promote with them the benefits of working from home, the benefits to their staff for working from home, and trying to partner up with organizations to really promote the benefits from working from home. So we're looking for organizations, large organizations that have really embraced that whole agile working from home flexible working scheme, so that we can work alongside them in partnership. So some really great exciting things.
So a lot of investment, an investment in product, an investment in the customer experience, an investment in strategic relationships. We haven't touched on a topic which I know has been very core to your senior professional career, both in this company and its predecessors, and that's investment in staff. We're obviously at an interesting time for the economy. There are some companies in some sectors who are struggling to retain their staff. I get the impression actually you're very bullish, both in terms of numbers, but also in terms of investment. Can you tell us a little bit more about how the staff will contribute to your growth plans?
Yeah, absolutely. Staff are always key. They're fundamental to any business. They're the core of what we do here. And engagement with staff has always been high up on my agenda, and it's been a theme that has run throughout. And a lot of the innovations, a lot of the product developments have come through those channels. We give the staff the opportunity to really put their piece into the puzzle. And that's fantastic, because it gives them a platform to communicate with us, to give us a much wider spectrum to pull ideas from. And so we're just giving staff the opportunity to engage with us, and you can see how much that difference that makes. I mean, we through this last few months, we've grown significantly in terms of our order book, in terms of our need for staff. So we've now employed I think the numbers have increased by nearly 10 people since the start of lockdown. That includes a new dedicated quality control person who, sole purpose is to ensure that everything that leaves this factory is 100% accurate, and that in itself has huge benefits. We've got a new fitting team due to demand that we've put in, and that takes time. That takes training, on the job training. We need to do that. But once that fourth team's in place, then that'd be great. We've got a new person within the project management team to support that role, because that role is getting bigger. That's about the customer experience, the hand-holding process for our customers, all the way from the moment they place their order all the way through to getting the keys at the back end and beyond. And that was a new role that we introduced under the new management structure. Project management was a really key change in this business. And then at the front end, we've just had another sales and marketing person come on board as well to strengthen that, because we're constantly evolving what we're offering in terms of a sale and the message that we're trying to get out there. We're just trying to bolster that team as well. So a lot of what we do is about supporting the teams that we've got, not allowing any one person to sink in any one position. So it's about getting the support structure in place. I have my support structure underneath me with Paul and Sue, and it's important that they and everybody thereafter has that support structure in place, and that everybody operates as a team, because actually as a team we can achieve so much more than we could as individual people. So the emphasis on team, collective thinking and collaboration is number one.
So in a word, are you optimistic about the company and its future?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have to take, the advantages that are presented to us. It doesn't just happen. Yeah, there's an element of good timing from my point of view, in terms of I would never have been able to predict that the whole COVID situation would have resulted in this. But you've got to be there to take them, and you've got to be in the place to take advantage of them. So for us, it's about making manageable steps. Progression is key, but it has to be done in a sustainable and manageable way. So we're very optimistic about that. We're looking at some very exciting opportunities beyond just the residential use as well, into more commercial uses. So trying to broaden the risk of the business, which is always key in any business. You've got to try and broaden your risk profile. And we just need to push on, really. And I think that with people embracing working from home, with the people looking to invest in their properties, and some of the restrictions currently, in particular around holiday making or anything like that, it's a great opportunity for us to really widen our marketplace. I mean, prior to COVID, the UK working from home, the population was about 12%, and at the peak of COVID, it was pushing 40%. So, anywhere in between for us is going to see a growth in the marketplace. So for us, it's fantastic.
And finally, then, if everything goes to plan, you've got a fantastic range of products, an incredibly strong reputation and a growing reputation. You're investing in strategic relationships. You're investing in staff. Where do you hope the company will be in 5 years' time?
Well, I know that when the company first started out, it was seen as the #1 market leader. Over the passage of time, I think other organisations have chipped away at that, and we're probably not there. But if we can get back there, then fantastic. But what's more important to me is that we continue to produce quality buildings, that we provide the customer service. We don't lose sight of the important things that are core to this business, which are the people, the experience, and that's the people in the business and the people outside of the business. And as long as we can continue to maintain those core fundamental principles, whether we increase this business by 10% or 100%, anything will be fantastic. as long as we can continue to provide that A-class professional service.
Fantastic. Matt Moss, thank you very much indeed.
Very welcome. Thank you.